Another day, another episode, civilization restarts. Okay, let's go. So, one thing before we begin, even though these videos are not getting shorter, I'm just going to be yapping less starting next episode and just more focused on the series because normally these are 20 minutes and 90% of it is me yapping. So, yeah, we're going to do that. And then also, we're going back to the old upload schedule just because I'm kind of running out of video ideas to be able to keep uploading daily. And I'm gonna be honest, no one really cares about the XP glitch videos after they get to level 100. So those videos are gonna die very soon, I think. Next up, if you're a new viewer, skip like 4 minutes into the video because the next 2 minutes is just gonna be me yapping about old stuff. So I was actually thinking, what if we make the map, because I'm always running out of colors, we make it the map white. Now this looks trash, and I'm really not willing to try it out because it's just really hard to tell what's a part of what. But if you guys want, tell me, because if you guys want to, we can. So just like think about it, like the video, subscribe, and if we have more subscribes than likes on this video, then I will keep it like. No, if we have more likes, I'll keep it like this. But if we have more subscribes, I'll change it to white. All right, that is why I purposely told all the new viewers to skip this part so that they can subscribe. All you old viewers, don't unsubscribe, because if you unsubscribe on this video, then that just shows it shows as unsubscribing, which YouTube is going to count as, well, loss of subscribers. So yeah. Now, now, last thing before we actually move into the real video, this HRE border thing right here, should it be looking like this or be looking like that? I think it should be looking like that. Okay, now we can move on. So, welcome back, new viewers, and welcome back, old viewers. We're actually going to begin over in these guys' world, where the capital is going to get occupied, as well as a Bangladesh-looking nation, and then just everything in the north that gets absolutely neglected every time these guys do anything. Just like that, that seems good. And then these things basically just rebel. The reason for this rebellion now is, well, these guys are a part of the Kievan Rus's alliance. Their population really doesn't want to be a part of that. So with the capital already having fallen in the first stages of this, the rest of the nation very quickly after these parties meet up with each other, just like that. Who is crying outside my window? Okay. Well, yeah, so after that, that's basically it. Yeah. The government's not surviving if the capital's already gone. So yeah, yeah, that's what it looks like now. Part of this peace treaty is that they're going to have to, sadly, for only Kievan Rus, not everyone, not anybody else, pull out of the alliance, further damaging the Kievan Rus's alliance, which has already crumbled in most of the world except for Asia, Europe. There's only one member in the Americas. So yeah, that's not going so well for them now, is it? Next up, we're actually going to do a little bit of edit cut because I'm going to turn the map white and see how it looks. Oh my god, I've only started the Americas. No, no. Everything I said before about you having a choice, you don't get a choice anymore. This looks disgusting. If anyone is choosing white still, don't. After seeing this, I'm done. I'm done with it being white. I'm done. That looks so disgusting. It's absolutely horrid. No one likes that. I doubt anyone is going to be liking that. I am yuck. Yuck. Restore the color. Restore the color, man. Restore the color. That is so bad. That looks so bad. So bad. Anyway, so while I'm undoing this, I'm going to yap about the storyline really quickly. The Kievan Rus are completely losing control. And it's looking like episode 50 might be another turning point, as the Kievan Rus are definitely going to collapse, leading to instability and a complete change of how the world is run everywhere. Now, this is a very scary thought. However, it is inevitable. And we can first see this with the red team's invasion of these, I forgot their name. Yeah, the Romanian looking thing. Red team invades this and does pretty well. Kievan Rus does step in, obviously, leading to war with the entirety of the Kievan Rus's alliance for the red team. Just one problem, that literally no one except for the Kievan Rus themselves, the Caspian Republic, and these two in the Kievan Rus's alliance actually boarded the red team, and of which the Kievan Rus are the only ones that can really deal damage to it, even the destroyed red team. And so, after a large pushback of the Kievan Rus, as well as the Caspians, We have the Kievan Rus kind of getting locked in a stalemate, being forced to defend themselves and being forced to pull out troops from here. After the capitulation of the Romanian coastline and the entrance into Kievan Rus even more, the red team just quickly sprints through, grabbing this capital and knocking these guys out of the war, encircling Romania completely, except from the Kievan Rus side, who are also suffering small incursions by the red team. And eventually, the Romanians, they're going to get wiped out. They're not going to surrender, but they are going to get wiped out, leading to a forced peace treaty befalling on the world, considering that these guys don't lack a capital now. We also, for the first time in human history in this entire thing, except for when Caspia first started existing, we have the Caspian Republic no longer controlling all of Caspia. Dun dun dun. That was over dramatic. So they actually do not now have control over all of Caspia. They still have control of most of Caspia. However, the red team has just expanded their borders into new land. Also, episode 100 is closer than I thought. So I'm wondering, should we do season 2? Should we just keep this going so far until I'm out of ideas, or should we start a season 2? A season 2. Yeah, you heard that right. Season 2. A complete reset back into the old days. I'm joking if you couldn't tell. That's not happening. That's not happening until the entirety of the series are at least either at 1, episode 100, or 2, I run out of ideas, which I have a lot of ideas, all the way to like episode 200. So that's never going to happen. And you guys are definitely never going to be losing interest in this either, I can tell, considering these do better than any videos I ever upload. So, okay, with this, we're just going to do that. The red team is going to annex pretty small regions from the Romanians and these guys. However, the Romanians are actually going to annex the entirety of this thing and get transformed into a red team puppet state. Their capital is also going to be moved to a destroyed city that's much closer to the red team. Mostly so if they ever rebel, their capital can easily get destroyed almost immediately, which does not sit well with the Romanians at all. However, you don't get a choice when your capital ceases to exist. Back over here. I'm also wondering, now I've already done this series before, but I'm wondering if I should do like a Civilization Restarts version of the real world. So like just mapping, except with our real world. I've done it before. People didn't like it. But hey, maybe. Okay, maybe. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Meanwhile, the red team is also going to be claiming all of this land from the Persians. Not all of that land. All of this land from the Persians. Now, this is because it holds a large red team population, and after the uh, blue team's alliance votes on it, the Persians are forced to give up this land, which does not sit well with the Persian government at all because now they're kind of mad at the the blue team alliance because they kind of just got vetoed when their land only concerned their land. So that does not sit well with them at all. However, you don't get a choice when you're part of such a big alliance. Now with this, Carthage is getting scared because the red team is building up their military, and it's looking like Carthage might be destroyed. So Carthage, Italy, and Morocco sign a little agreement, basically, and declare war on the red team. Now, this war is going to see the red team absolutely demolish the African front because even though it's a surprise attack and an ambush, these guys, their progress is so small I can't even show it on the map. So Carthage is able to do absolutely nothing and then get pushed back all the way over here. The Italians or the Romans are even more mad at them now because, again, they blamed all their losses on the Carthaginians for not being able to hold up their front, which kind of true, but also not really. And eventually, Rome is captured completely, discombobulating the Romans, and they're forced to bring in the entire alliance. Uh, I don't know why I did that. France is not in that alliance at all. So yeah, eventually troops just come rolling down, and Rome ironically capitulates before Carthage. Back over here, a push is made into these lands, and it looks like the red team is about to recover their African stuff. After pushing all the way over here, we have the destruction of Carthage's capital for another 7 millionth time by a foreign power, and Moroccan border being reached. With this capitulation of everything in the in African territories of the old red team, except for well these guys themselves. So with this, the Americans are getting really, really scared because it seems like the red team government is set on recovering all of their lost territories, which is a little bit scary for everybody because if you remember, that red team was absolutely overpowered and it could do whatever it want wanted with no consequences up until the final 3 episodes it was in the series for at its greatest. So it is looking like they're going to reach full world domination again, leading to many secret coalitions popping up against them that I'm not going to name right now. You're gonna have to wait till the next video for that. So like and subscribe for the next video. Anyway, with all of this stuff happening, there is just one problem with the red team, and that's the problem they had when they first started existing. Exactly how do they manage to keep this empire together without it breaking apart for the 9,000th time? We're not going to answer that. I have absolutely no idea. No empire in history has been this unstable. Rome has conquered most of the lands these guys have the red team has conquered. Not this world's Rome, our world's Rome. But there weren't this many separate cultures because there were a lot of separate cultures, but not this many. In this universe, even the smallest nations, like Portugal looking thing, even it has like thousands of languages in it because basically every family has its own language in this world. So yeah, it's extremely unstable the further you get from the capital, and we still haven't invented modern day technology in this world yet. It's still horsemen carrying the messages from the leaders to the front lines. So it's yeah, everything's pretty slow. Like every minute that goes by in a video is like a month. At default, it's like a month unless I say so. Like if I say 100 years has passed and only 2 minutes has passed, then 100 years has passed. But at the default stage, it's going to be like a minute. Now the Moroccans give they already have given independence to this. Never mind. These guys proclaim independence, which the Cameroons are like fine, because really, realistically, the Cameroons are not going to march all the way over here from Moscow just because of a small nation. It's not even that strong of a nation. They're lacking absolutely nothing because of that nation. Meanwhile, just to like show that hey, we're on your team, the Moroccans moved their capital up over here, which is also because they know that the mainland's getting invaded by the red team soon, as well as they. I think these three are the only ones left in their alliance. Yep. Meanwhile, the red team politely asks Qatar to let them annex this vessel, and Qatar, wanting to remain on good terms with the red team, says no. But how about you take this land, which the red team agrees to? Which the red team agrees to. And so with the annexation of this chunk of land, the Arab thing isn't really mad because half of their elites live in here, and their people could not care less because they're getting dominated by one country either way, and they would rather that have be a very strong red team or Qatar. They could not care less. And Qatarians, they also could not care less because they just keep to themselves and these guys. So yeah, no one's really sad at this. However, that's with the exception of Morocco. So with all of this, I am going to have to do one last war before we end this, and that war is going to be. Is this American or Colombian? Okay, that's American. This is going to be between the United States of America and the British again. Now, this is for the first time in the series these two have gone to war because they've been pretty good with each other, considering these guys, considering the British helped America with their independence from the Red Team. So with this, it's actually going to be the British who do this because they see that they need to somewhat recover their influence after the loss of influence and the complete embarrassment that was caused by the Kievan Rus' victory, and they do it pretty decently well. They get all the way over here, but then it's a stalemate because the Americans are dumb. They knew this day was going to come sometime, so they basically just dig out giant holes in the ground. Eventually, Ontario's captured, and so is the Michigan. Michigan, I think this is Michigan. Oklahoma, I don't know. This thing. And the Great Lakes are getting surrounded by British troops. British naval vessels enter into the Great Lakes, leading to an absolute destruction of the Great Lakes' water supply, as much of it gets contaminated with uh, well, they're not really at a stage of oil yet. It gets contaminated with diseases. Just make it up yourself how it got contaminated with diseases, but this leads to it getting contaminated with diseases. Eventually, the British make quick landings over here, leading to that falling. Oh god, that's too much. That's too much land lost. So, like, yeah, they do that, and this all is like pretty unexpected by the Americans because they're not stupid. They knew this was going to happen. They just didn't know it was going to happen right away. They thought it was going to happen like I don't know, maybe if the British got absolutely exiled from their actual like main islands, in which case they will probably go to New Zealand, not to the Canadian colony, because the Canadian colony still has some strategic interest to other powers because Arctic roots. Actually, do they know? No, the people in this world don't know about climate change yet. They don't have the technology to figure out that yet. they actually don't even have the technology for oil extraction, which is very, very sad. Over here, eventually the Americans are going to lose their capital, which is going to impact them pretty heavily as a major rebellion pops up in the south. Dun dun dun. Where have we seen that before? And this southern rebellion, it's gonna do pretty well. Now, this is mostly because Florida absolutely carried the south. I know in our world, Texas carries south a lot, and so does Florida. But in this world, Texas is just burnt hell, mostly because of so many wars fought over this land. So yeah, also Cuba is just going to quickly do a switcheroo. Actually, no. So Cuba actually gets occupied by Aztec invaders. Same with a large chunk of the U.S. Of the American thing over here. And these guys are actually going to somewhat supply the South alongside the British, leading to the South getting all of this land. Why do you color the entirety of the Americas? You're supposed to color only certain parts. And the South, they don't want independence, but they want independence. They just don't want to be controlled by these guys. They want themselves to be America. However, they're kind of forced to declare independence because if they didn't, then they'd be at war with the British. And they really don't want to be at war with the British right now. So with the South also having now secured their front line, they sign a treaty with the British for the British to like not try to get that land at least for the next 10 years. The British respect that treaty for the next 10 years. However, this all is going to capitulate and the United States are going to disappear. After getting this far, the rest of this just kind of surrenders because no land is left that is valuable. So taking a look at this treaty, just nice clean line most for the most part is going to be drawn for the independent South now. And as for the Aztecs, they're going to get just a little bit of land over here. Yup, that looks good. And then also they're going to annex Cuba completely. Cuba's just theirs. The British are going to take a large chunk out of the Americas, definitely, because they lost a war over in, well, Europe. So they have to get something to repair the damages of this war too, because war ain't cheap. And then they're just going to kind of like do that, and then that, and then that, and then that, and then that. This also means that these guys are actually going to start opening trade with the British, because remember, their entire thing, policy thing, so that they're not too much dragged into global stuff, is only have diplomatic relations with people you border. Now, the British aren't going to like this. They're going to try and invade them. Not this episode, but someday, and everyone knows it. The Americas that are left, though, are just reduced to a British puppet state, for the most part. Actually, no, they're just going to get completely split up. The America themselves is going to turn into that thing, while the Midwest is going to get its own thing, and then this is going to get its own thing, except for the Mississippi River, which is going to be given over to British administration, like that, I guess. Yeah, that seems somewhat like the Mississippi River. That's going to be given over to the British. These two are just going to be there, and the Americans aren't going to be allowed to change their capital because it's currently completely consolidated, occupied by the British. So they're not going to allow this change, which is going to make the American even more mad. Meanwhile, the British are actually going to, I guess, then seize a little bit more land, mostly so they can just open up some trade routes with the Aztecs, who they're pretty good allies with, even though those two were at war at a certain point because of the Kevin Roose global conflict. However, the British are going to let that just be water under the bridge for the reason that they kind of need some allies in the Americas because, yeah, they need some allies in the Americas. That's a pretty good reason. The Floridans are going to put their capital right here because these Floridans are more connected with the Umayyads than they are with the actual Americans. This is because they were heavily conquered for a long time, and many in the mainland of Florida are still going to want to be re-annexed, but that's not going to happen. And then the British, they're going to incorporate most of this. However, this thing over here is just going to get incorporated to like this part all the way over here, that part, because it's just an occupation. Yeah, okay, the British are going to annex a little bit more. They're just going to grab up that as well. This thing is going to be getting independence though, and it's going to be a shade of orange that looks good enough. It's basically this world's Texas, and it's looking to join these guys, but the British are not going to allow that yet, just because, well, they don't want to not be the ones who absolutely dominate the Americas. Their entire goal right now is to just dominate the Americas so they can turn this entire Americas into just one big factory. They're also going to differentiate between the Americas itself and their Canadian Dominion thing, just like the British in our timeline. But the Canadian Dominion itself is going to make some land gain as well, and these land gains are going to make it look a lot more like Canada. Not completely, though. And so with this huge, huge land stuff, it's kind of concerning to the blue team, whose North American colony is just that, but in the South America, they dominate. The British don't really care about South America because remember, they only got into South America to be able to say that we got into South America. They don't have actual strategic importance there. They just want to boost their citizens' morale. And yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe. America is gone, while the this is going to be in the center because the Aztecs are not going to allow the British to puppet this entirely enough to where it can't even rebel. The British still going to puppet it, but not to where it can't even rebel. It's going to be able to at least rebel. Not right now because it has no military, but like maybe 10 episodes from now, they'd be able to. I don't know. Maybe there'll be an interesting turn of events. You just got to stay tuned. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe. Good.